If an amp develops any crackling, popping, wind-like noises, glass clinking, whistling, or microphonic sounds, it's most likely a preamp or power tube. These noises can also be intermittent and doesn't necessarily mean the tube will fail, it just changed. To find out which tube it is on a 5 preamp tubed Rivera, start with turning the volume knob all the way down on channel 1. This shuts off V1, the first preamp tube closest to the input jack. If the noise goes away, it's V1 that needs to be replaced. If the noise doesn't go away, turn the master control all the way down on the same channel. This shuts off V2 and V3. If the noise goes away, most of the time it's V2. However, if you change V2 and it's still there, change V3. Both channel 1 and channel 2 share V2 and V3. Channel 1 uses one half and channel 2 uses the other. Sometimes V2 and V3 will only have one of their sides making noise. This is why sometimes the noise is in only one of the channels. To double check this, switch to channel 2 with the master up and see if the noise is still there as well. If the noise is still there on either channel, turn down the reverb knob. The reverb knob is powered by V4. Also turn down the return control in the effects loop and insert an instrument cable in the return. If you don't have level controls, insert anyway and make sure the other end of the instrument cable is not touching anything that would cause it to make noise. Plugging into the return shuts off V4 through V1. If the noise finally goes away, it's V4. If it doesn't, then it's either the 5th preamp tube, V5, or the power tubes. If the noise doesn't go away when changing V5, it's the power tubes. If the amp lights up but there's no sound and the amp has 2 fuses, shut off the amp and check the HT fuse. If it's blown, most likely one or both of the power tubes have failed, even if they're glowing normally. If the fuse hasn't blown, it can still be the power tubes or V5. Only very rarely is it a blown speaker. To make sure, plug your guitar into the return control and turn it all the way up. If you hear a normal clean guitar tone while playing through the effects loop, then it's not the power tubes or V5, but one of the V1 through V4 preamp tubes. Use the process of elimination by changing each preamp tube one at a time to find the faulty tube. If the tube seems hard to install, most likely the tubes are not lined up properly or one of the tube pins are bent. Also, turning the amp upside down helps ease the installation. If the amp is not lit, make sure the power cord is properly connected. Then check the mains fuse. If the mains fuse is blown, most likely it's the power tubes. If buying the power tubes from Rivera, it's recommended you purchase the same grade number. The grade number is written on the base of the power tube or on the chromed top. Using the same grade number from the factory ensures proper biasing. If using non-Rivera tubes or a different grade, it's recommended to have it rebiased by a service tech.